Hello, welcome to the next video in my series about the Dark Eye core rules, and I'm going to explain the rules for performing rituals. And this is pretty much the same, or a lot of this is exactly the same like casting a spell. And I'm not going to explain everything again in the same detail. I will often just say this is the exact same like it is for the spellcasting, and I'm not going into detail, so you might want to watch the spellcasting video if you haven't watched that already. So for example, it starts out exactly the same as the section about spellcasting. It tells you you have to declare your target, and the target has to be within reach, and the target has to be the right type. So I'm not going to explain what this exactly means. And then there's a difference, and for performing a ritual, there are 4 factors that can have an influence on the test you're going to make, and that is the place, the time, what you're wearing, and the tools you're using. And when you are in the right place, you will, in a magical place or a holy place, you might get a +1 on your ritual test. And if you are in the wrong place, you can get a -3 on your ritual test. And if the stars are aligned in a favorable way, you get a +1 on your ritual test. And if the stars are aligned in a negative way, then you get a -1 on your ritual test. And if you're dressed in the right ceremonial dress, you get a +1, and if you have prepared the site, or if you're using the right tools for the ritual, you get a +1 too. Ideally, you try to get all of the 4 things right and get a +4 on your ritual test. That's something that is different from the spells, because spells are not affected by these things. Then you can do modifications, and these modifications work exactly the same like they do for spells, except that the numbers and the steps you can modify are different. And the steps that are different are the ones for the range, the distance, and it doesn't start with not the distance, for the time it takes to perform the ritual, and it isn't measured in actions, but it starts with 5 minutes, then 30 minutes, then 2 hours, then 8 hours, then 16 hours, and then 32 hours. And else it works the same as it works for the spells. You can go up or down here to make the ritual more quicker or more easy. So the next thing that is different is the cost. The cost starts with 8 astral points, and it doubles to 16, 32, 64, 128, 256. And you might wonder, how in the world am I going to pay 256 astral points? And that is not explained in the core rules, because it is not needed in the core rules. In the core rules, there are no ritual that need that much astral energy. There are situations where you can split up paying the astral energy, kind of, but usually you have to pay at once. After you roll the test, you have to use the astral energy for the ritual. And to get these the high amount of astral energy, there are 2 ways, or there were 2 ways in the 4th edition, and I'm expecting it to work the same in the extended rules for magic, which there will be an additional extended rule book for magic will be released, and I expect to be the same rules in there. That is my guess. It could change. In the 4th edition, you could use blood magic to get additional astral energy. You can transform basically life energy by sacrificing blood into astral energy. The most effective is when you are sacrificing people, and of course that is not a very good solution, because you have to kill people for it. And so there's another way to do this, and that is you can pool your astral energy with other spellcasters. And there's a spell everybody that is involved in the ritual has to learn, and they all cast this spell, and then not only does your astral energy get into one big pool, but also your ability to cast a spell can be influenced. And that's a way how you can pay a lot of astral energy at once. So, but that is only my guess. It has worked like this, and I'm guessing it will work this in the future when a new sourcebook, a new rulebook comes out that explains more about magic, and I expect to be similar rules in there, and a ritual that actually need a lot of astral energy. So, and the last thing you can modify is the range of the ritual, but that is exactly the same as in the spellcasting. It works exactly the same. You can only go up, not down, and the numbers are the same. So, and you can combine these modifications if you want. And these modifications and the modifications for time, place, and environment add up to a final modification, and with this modification you're going to roll a ritual test, a skill test, a simple skill test. You roll on 3 attributes and you make the test. No, there's one thing I should mention, because also the time the ritual takes is very long. It can take up to 32 hours, and you're going to wonder, how am I going to do this? You can split up a long-lasting ritual in 2-hour chunks or more, and you can make a break for a day and then get back to the ritual site and continue the ritual, as long as no one is really disturbing the ritual in the meantime. So you can split this up, and you can make a 32-hour ritual in 4 sessions of 8 hours or something, or whatever suits you, whatever is convenient. That's explained here. Yeah, you roll the test. There's no critical success or critical failure in performing rituals. You either fail or you either succeed, and then you pay the astral energy you have to pay. And again, if you fail, you pay half of the astral energy the ritual would cost. And there is one change for rituals. Some rituals don't just require you to pay astral energy, they will cost you permanent astral energy points. So your maximum astral energy of your character, of your spellcaster, will go down by a certain amount. This can be 10% of the cost, 5% of the cost. And you can get these points back. You can buy them back with experience points, and it is cheaper, a lot cheaper than buying new astral energy points. When you level up, you can raise your astral energy and buy a new maximum for astral energy, which is not so expensive at first, but gets way more expensive as soon as you have hidden a certain amount of astral energy you have paid. And no matter how expensive new astral energy points are to buy, buying back permanently lost astral energy points is always pretty cheap. But nevertheless, it costs experience points. So this will, if you do this often, you can waste a lot of experience points on buying back permanently lost astral energy. So, and after you've paid for your spell and you have succeeded in performing the spell, then you are going to apply the effect of the ritual. And that totally depends on what kind of ritual you have performed. So this is the basics of performing rituals, and now there are more detailed descriptions of certain kinds of rituals, and I think I'm going to make an extra video about that. For example, the next is about invocation. You can see here on the right, this is an invocation of an elemental spirit, of a fire spirit. You can also call demons or something like that, but that will be a topic of its own. So that's it for now. If you have any questions, feel free to ask and comment. But that's it for now. Bye.